Alright folks, in this video we're going to be taking a look at a few games on the GPD Win 5. This is the AI plus 395 Max model with the 64 GB RAM and 4 TB memory. There are a bunch of games that people requested in the last video, so we're just going to go through those. The first one being Outer Worlds. So I'm going to be running this at plugged in 75 watts. The base device comes with 45 watts locked in, and it can operate at about 85 watts in power. So I've put it somewhere around 75, which I think is suitable. So right now we have Outer Worlds running under the default settings at 75 watts. You can see up there the frame rate in green and the other stats on the top of that. We'll do one on battery and we'll do one plugged in. So plugged in, the default settings, which are I believe medium, it gives you around 69-70 FPS. So let's just take a look. So the reason it says customs is it's because that's what it defaulted to. So I'm going to go into very high. I won't do ultra because it's pointless. You're not going to get a playable frame rate. Well, you could, but it's just so. This is running at very high at around 40 FPS, and this is with FSR balanced. Still pretty good that it's running this well at very high settings. Ray tracing is turned off. If you want ray tracing on, you can do that as well. So you're going to need FSR, because this, despite what you may desire from a chipset like this, you still need FSR. Otherwise you're not going to have a good time. So let's turn on ray tracing. Alright, so with ray tracing you get around 34, 35. There's no combat in this zone because I'm in the city, but this is a densely populated area that is pretty good to show off what's possible. So this is with ray tracing, but ideally you'd want to play this somewhere around, let's say we're going to keep FSR at ultra performance. Performance is fine, and we can put this back to medium, and I think this should give us a decent balance. So with ray tracing medium you get around 48, 44 FPS. So ray tracing is pretty heavy for the most part. I would personally just turn it off. You can't see much of a difference in most places with ray tracing, so let's just turn it off because we don't want that. And it doesn't support frame gen over here, so that's another thing. You need to use a mod to apply frame gen. So we're back to 82, 72 FPS. This is on medium FSR with 1080p performance mode, and I think it's better we put it at high. Let's just put it at high because we're getting a lot of frames. Yeah, there we go. So this is a good balance. You can do high without ray tracing at 1080p FSR performance. Keep in mind this can operate at 85 watts, but the thing I noticed with 85 watts, the fan gets really loud, so it's not worth doing for the most part, because you're getting good frames anyway. You know, even at 45 the frame rate is pretty good in most games. You can hit 60 very easily because the chip, the 8060S on this, the Radeon 8060S, is pretty powerful. So that is the Outer Worlds, and we're going to look at another heavy game. But before I do that, we're going to go into battery mode. So we're just going to plug this out. And I've limited the frame rate to 40 frames on battery mode, with the wattage being 25 or 24 watts. So it needs a little bit of time to stabilize. Let me just make sure that it's stabilized. It also shows you how long it's going to run for. Right now it says 1 hour 30 minutes, but let's just make sure that we are at 25 watts. Yeah, so we are at 25 watts. So at 25 watts right now, it fluctuates between 2 hours and 30 minutes to 2 hours and 10 minutes, but I would say you can play around 2 hours of Outer Worlds when running this at 25 watts with your frame rate capped to 40, because this has a VRR screen that works around 48 to 120 hertz. So 40 I think is good enough. So around 2 hours of gameplay, maybe a little bit more if you lower the settings. So let's say right now we are on high, so let's just say we go on low, like the absolute lowest. So just in case you want to take this on a flight and, you know, see what you can get if you... So it's pretty much unchanged. It's around, yeah, 2 hours and 40 minutes. So you get 40 minutes more, I guess. But keep in mind this will vary. You can lower your frame rate to 30 and you might get a few more minutes. But this is a very, very solid performing device, especially for portability, because it's pretty cool. Also, the thing is, because it's a 7-inch, you won't see much of a difference between low on FSR and high, because the screen is, you know, pretty tightly packed together. It's 7-inch. So let's move on to another game. So this is Avatar Frontiers of Pandora. Pretty cool game. They are going to be releasing a third-person update for this pretty soon. I think it's around December 5th. So the first test we're going to do is with 75 watts plugged in, and then we will do a plugged out test as well. So when this game loads, the default it goes by is custom. It goes with medium and high mix, but this right now is not default. So I'm going to show you the settings it's running at. How do I do this? Wait out. Alright, graphics, where's the graphics? Alright, so this is running at its default. It's a mix of high and medium in some cases, but for the sake of testing we are going to go to medium and apply this. FrameGen is not working for some reason on this, because I think it's got something to do with the overlay. So we're not going to be having FrameGen in this. I'd highly recommend using FrameGen. So at medium, we are averaging around 70 FPS. You know, it goes to 80 as well. It's pretty all the way up and down in the high 70s, 80s. So very, very smooth. And of course, this screen does not look like this when you get it. You have to calibrate it through the AMD control panel. But once you do, it looks very close to an AMOLED screen. Very, very close. If you have the right collaboration that you can do on the AMD Radeon control panel. So I wonder if I can... Well, I don't think I have anything to shoot here. Oh, let's see. Oh, in case you want a sound test. Better off using a bow. I really don't like killing animals. Well, in games I don't like killing animals. In real life, you know, whatever. it happens. But I just don't like the action games, so let's go to the graphic settings and see what else we can do over here. So we are running at 75 watts, and we were running at medium. Now we're going to go to, so let's just go ultra. So I believe when you are, my bad. Alright, and so super resolution, sorry, FSR is running over here. It's on ultra performance mode. So if you don't have this on at ultra performance, you're going to have a bad time. I'm going to keep it at balanced. Now it's loading, so it's going to be a bit of a pause. Alright, there we are. Let me lower the volume. So on ultra, with FSR set to balanced, it's running at around 40 frames per second. It's averaging around that, but in fights it may go down a little bit more than that. So ultra is definitely not something you should be using on this device. Medium is probably the way to go with this one. Well, if you want, you can actually put FSR to ultra performance and keep the settings at ultra. So now you do hit 50 if you lower the FSR. So this is still ultra, but it's giving you 60 frames. So, and because the screen is so sharp and small, you won't really notice much of a difference. Alright, so let's go down to the graphics and put it on where we go. I don't like the menus in this game, so put the graphics back on medium. Alright, so now we're going to switch out from 75 watts and go back to our base of 25 watts. Right, taking this off. Alright, so at 25 watts we are hitting the around 40, maybe around 39, 38. And the battery life, again, it says 2 hours, but I would say it's more like 1.5 hours, 1 hour 40 minutes. This is because this is running in medium. Pretty cool. If I can get around 2 hours of Avatar, that's pretty good. It can cover my flight to Singapore. So let's see what happens if we put down the graphics to low, if we get more battery life. That doesn't seem right. It says 3 hours. No, that's not right. So this is going to use a minimum of 25 watts. If you want to play Avatar, you need a minimum of 25 watts on this device, even running everything at low. It averages around 2 hours, so that's pretty good for Avatar. And the game looks great. Really, really good in this. Let's check out something else now. Alright, this is Warhammer 40k Space Marine. Pretty awesome game. I just realized that this game has a day-night cycle. It's pretty weird. I didn't know that. Because I could swear this was daytime when I loaded it previously. So it's doing 189. So the frame rate you're seeing is because this supports frame generation. And I would recommend keeping it on because the performance of this device is so high that it can handle frame gen really easily. But we will go to some settings and see what it's like without it. Where's the videos? So this is FSR balanced. Quality preset is medium. Where's frame generation? Alright, let's turn that off. So let's do ultra and see what happens. So this is Space Marine running at ultra. Wait, that doesn't seem right. Okay, yeah, it is ultra. Wow. So this is pretty crazy. That's fucking crazy. So this is Space Marine without frame gen running at ultra FSR balance. So it's getting like around 95. Maybe it's gonna block down a little bit. Oh man, I was not ready for that. No. Seriously? Come on. Yeah, I get really into this game. It's very, very cool. Okay, so I'm not gonna play the game. I just want to show it off. So, so that is, I mean, that's ultra at 75 watts. There's really nothing more to say. This game gets wiped by the 8060S on the AMD. So we're gonna switch out, and now we're gonna limit it to 40 FPS at 25 watts. I think this is where I'm going to be stuck right away. So it can pretty easily do 40 FPS at 25 watts. And again, this is going to give you 2 hours of gameplay. Not 2 hours, like 1 hour 40 minutes, until shutdown and so on and so forth. You could get more out of it because this is running at ultra. So what we would want to do is, where did it go? Alright, so where's the preset? So let's put it down to the lowest and see what we can do with the battery life. I'm not paying attention. Alright, so yeah, around 1.5 hours, 1 hour 40 minutes or so, even at 25 watts. But as you can see, it runs very, very well. I have capped it to 40 FPS because there's really no point running this on battery more than that. And let's get to the next one. Alright, so we're going to do some Cyberpunk, and this has been tested quite a bit, but at this point it's somewhat necessary to play this game on a device like this. Alright, it's loading. Let's make sure presets on. Alright, so the graphics are on, it says custom, but this is actually running at ray tracing low. So this is pretty high with low ray tracing. And
Hey everyone, welcome to Info Flash. Say, do y'all lose power yesterday too?
I feel it's pretty fast.
What the fuck, V? You are off net. I lose your eyes.
Brigitte and the other guy, are they back?
Who told him?
Alright, this is a pretty dark
Yes.
place. We need to get out of here.
Perfect, because I gotta talk to her.
And what up, Netwatch?
Taken care of.
Look for my people at front.
Well, as you can see, I mean, it's giving you like 140 frames because oh no, no, no. I forgot this game has music in it. So let me skip the time to sometime in the day. Oh, it's pretty foggy, so but you get an idea. It's running pretty crazy, so I'm gonna turn off frame gen, and frame gen is pretty good in this game, so let's just turn that off. This is running much higher than the Steam Deck preset because this is ray tracing low, and still it's giving like around, I mean, it's hitting 120. This is without frame gen. Granted, it's in a foggy area, but there's nothing I can do about that. And let's just see what it's like on the battery performance. So capped at 40. We are, it's still calculating that. We're getting the 40 frames at 25 watts, and again 2 hours, so everything, you know, pretty much at 2 hours. 1 hour 40 minutes here, so that must be 1 hour 30 minutes, again 1 hour 40, so 2 hours. Okay, but pretty cool. This looks way better than what you would obviously find in a Switch, because this is like everything ultra with everything high with ray tracing low. Let me just go through and check that I'm right about that. So FSR is set at auto. Yeah, so everything is high, ultra, as you can see. And it does have low ray tracing. It doesn't have path tracing on, but it has some ray tracing on, so that's pretty cool. Very, very impressive. And let's see what else is there. So those are just a few of the high-end games that I tested. There's a bunch. I wanted to check out Jedi Survivor and Starfield as well, but I'll probably do that in a later video because I'm going to make a video that will explain how to set this up with the color and the BIOS, so a setup run, which GPD does have something like that they've posted, but it's not in English, and it's very useful to do that setup. So far with the experience I've been having with this device is that I'm very, very, very impressed. You know, this thing is very, very impressive. The weight is sort of bulky with this on, but I usually don't keep this on. If I really wanted, I plug it or I use the power cable. The other thing I discovered that if you have this battery pack plugged in, you can use the USB port with like a 100-watt charger, just a regular 100-watt PD charger, and it does charge. I'm not sure if it's for all chargers, but my charger does work because it sustains it and charges it high enough at 45 watts. But if you remove this, that charger is not going to be enough to keep this going. It's just going to shut off. So you need a specific charger if you want to only use this port. Otherwise, the barrel port is not much of an issue. I do find that, oh, I did want to show this off. So when you click this on, when you take these switches on top, it's supposed to make your triggers digital. But this one is slightly unresponsive because when I click here, it doesn't do anything. It only works if I click here. So here, for some reason, it doesn't work. It only works here. That only happens if I put this up. When it's down, it's fine. But it was kind of weird. I'm not sure if that's an issue or what. But I'm sure I can open and fix it if that's a real issue. The other thing was that these bumpers are very sensitive. I would have liked if they were a little bit harder to press, because I mean just a slight tap on the side and you're going to trigger it. This generally wouldn't happen because your fingers are not going to be rested there, but you can make that mistake, you know, if your finger goes like that, a little bit like that. This one is not an issue. I'm not sure. This one's a little bit sensitive. Again, it's not a big issue. Totally can get around that. And the other thing that so far I've noticed is the optical mouse. While this mouse is very, very good and very precise, I use it a lot. A lot of times when I'm playing, if I sort of like slide my finger this way or that way, somewhere over there, just by accident, it will click this and the game goes out sometimes. It doesn't go to desktop, it just clicks on the desktop and the game goes in Windows mode. So I'm not sure if there's a way to disable this. My Win controls are all in Chinese, so I'm not sure what's up with that, because I would have changed it. And I don't think there's a setting for so there you go. I don't think there's a setting for the optical mouse, unless I'm missing something. They should really add something to disable this, which would be useful. Something else to note, this does come with the Windows full screen experience. Now, I don't like the Windows full screen experience because the kind of stuff that I do, which is like, you know, opening up Riva Tuner for getting your OSD, opening modded custom apps and stuff, it's really iffy on the full screen experience. So I'm okay with the desktop. I don't really have any sort of issue with that. Ideally, I would say you should not use Windows on this, because if you use Windows on this device, you're going to lose so much, like a lot, because if you have Bazzite or SteamOS on this, you can easily, you know, just open whatever things you want, because it has a home key, it has a menu key. You can easily open all your settings and your TDP settings, and it's very, very easy and more practical to use. It's faster. The sleep and resume function for most games, it works sometimes and sometimes it doesn't. So Windows I just don't think Windows is something you should be using on this, unless you're playing something very specific. But for the most part, it's okay. The full screen experience also is, I would just say it's okay. It's not that great. You don't get much of a boost in frame rate, maybe 1 frame here and there. The device is so powerful that you wouldn't even notice it for the most part. But definitely you should update the firmware and put Bazzite or SteamOS on this, because the whole design language of this is built for something like SteamOS. Windows is not it, because you want something that can easily pop up on the side and control your fan speed, show you FPS, show you TDP, change your refresh rate. You want that speed, and you want something that, you know, you click, it goes to sleep or hibernate and wakes up, and you can continue your game. You can do that in Windows, but not all the time, because some games are just really not built with that in mind for Windows. Whereas in Linux, the whole system is designed to work that way. And yes, even Linux has issues, but Windows is not the device for this. So I will make another video on some settings and tweaks if people want that. And if you like the video, go ahead and like it. If you dislike it, go ahead and dislike it. Thanks for watching.